Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Marriage Culture TV, where marriage and culture intersect. I'm your host, Queen Athleen, and
This is Nikki O.
Nikki O. Welcome back again. So today we are talking about another topic. This is episode 5. Yeah, episode 5.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
5. Grace. Sorry,
Last week we
5.
spoke about relationships, and so this week we're going to talk about um, negative effect of a different kind of relationship, and that is infidelity, as you can see by the title.
Yes.
So infidelity, there's nothing nice about it, but Nikki, let's talk about what infidelity is to us. What's your take on infidelity?
Very simple. We didn't want to, spice it up, make it look really nice or anything like that. It's just
Yeah,
being unfaithful to your spouse, and that's all it is, being unfaithful.
being unfaithful.
Kathleen, your take?
Yeah, it's basically that. I agree. It's being unfaithful. It's dishonoring your marital vows, and it's dishonoring the trust within your union, dishonoring your spouse. It's just nasty.
Yes.
Infidelity is
Yeah.
just, and so we talked about some trigger words that come to mind when we hear the word infidelity. For me, it was just nasty, disgusting. Kumotaya. Sorry if you're not Jamaican. Somebody can help you to translate that for you. I can't. Maybe Nikki will help you translate.
Oh my Lord.
But there's nothing nice about it. What?
I don't think we're gonna do any translations this week. Words that came to my mind were like being disloyal. You're a fraud,
Fraud.
deceitful. And then I was telling Athlete like it's like blood up, cut up, done. Words like those were just coming to my mind because that thing brings out the very negative persona of any single person. You know, it just brings you to a very dark place, I would say.
Yes, it does. It's you don't walk down the aisle thinking, oh, okay, when we hit this bump in the road of infidelity, then this is the route we take. You don't think that you're going to have that. However, we've had friends and we know people that it happens to, and we're hoping that this discussion can open up a broader avenue for us to discuss the topic of infidelity more. One of the things we spoke about in our previous videos was relationships and
Yeah.
boundaries. And so we want to kind of branch off into to this part of it and say, how does infidelity happen? How?
Yeah. I
What's your
just,
how?
I mean, infidelity starts by having a relationship with with someone that will cause you to, I don't know, I'm just going to say it's going to cause you to go down that road that you just don't want to.
Yeah.
The attraction starts. And most times when with the infidelity, it can be with, when we were talking about it earlier, we were looking at it like, oh, maybe it's just someone new, or, you start having an attraction, something is there, or maybe think you're lacking something at home and you see someone, you're like, oh, whatever. But sometimes it can be that familiar person. It could be Mr. Joe, the next door neighbor. It
Yeah.
could be Miss Linda, the homeschool teacher. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a stranger. It's just knowing that this is a relationship that you went before God and man and you said you're going to leave everyone else, you're going to cleave to this woman, and you said until death will you part, and that nothing would come between you, regardless of whatever it was. And then here you are at this intersection and you have made a bad decision, a bad choice, and here we are dealing with the consequences of it. And I was telling Athleen, and I know I'm going off into my own little soapbox, that in the Western world we're less tolerant of infidelity, extramarital affair. We prefer monogamy. But in some cultures, because this is an intercultural channel dealing with marriages, there's some cultures where, it's not really the norm, but it is expected. And even if it's not expected, if you do it, it's not such a big deal because, Uncle L did it or cousin B did it and it's okay. And guess what? I have the money, so I can have the other lady on the other side. And what makes this even, not so nice to even talk about it is that, it is expected. that, if most societies, if you are the female and, your husband has another partner, if you are the wife and your husband has another partner, that you should tolerate such behavior. Athleen, your take?
It's totally intolerable, and I agree with you. In some cultures, it's like, yeah, that's what men do. They're men and they're sowing their wild oats. And so an excuse is made for it. But from an intercultural perspective, I think a lot of times infidelity happens when some guardrails and there's some protection, the guardrails are destroyed or not totally in place properly. For instance, I remember one day I was in a supermarket. It was a Caribbean supermarket, and there was this guy, very chatty. Jamaicans can be quite friendly, upon meeting them first. And he goes, "Oh, we were just chatting in line. He's behind me and in front, and we're waiting for the cashier." And he goes, "Oh, I'm buying all these meats because we're having a cookout this weekend." It was like Labor Day, right? And I was like, "Okay, that's nice." He's like, "You're welcome to come if you'd like." And I was just like, "I don't know." He goes, "It's okay, you can come." And I said, "Well," I said, "Thank you for the invite, but that's okay." He's like, "No, no, no, really, you can come. My wife is going to be there, but she's American." And he said it so dismissively, as if to say,
Wow.
because he's Jamaican and I'm Jamaican and his wife is American, that I will have an in with him because he's a guy from my land. You understand? And so
Right.
you
Same
see, I mean,
culture.
yeah, from the same culture. So it's like, come on now. I was so disgusted. I just walked to my car. I'm like, later for you, boo. But I have seen that and have been, I have seen where someone from the culture of a spouse will come in and think that because we're of the same culture, we kind of have more of a footing than your spouse, and your marriage really isn't really a marriage because you're not married from married to someone from home. And it's really disgusting and it's really dismissive of the marriage vows and covenants. So really, there's no excuse for it. There's no excuse for it. The Bible says in Hebrews 13:4, and I'll read it, says, marriage is to be honored by all, regardless of culture, regardless. And husbands and wives must be faithful to each other. God will judge those who are immoral and those who commit adultery. There's nothing nice about it. It causes pain. It
Yeah.
causes pain.
I like what you just said in regards to, you know, being in an intercultural marriage, and then you're dealing with another culture, and then here comes all the things that are working against you for you to not be faithful in that marriage. And you rightly pointed out, you're an American married to someone from another continent, and you know another American or a Jamaican might say, "Hey, big deal, let's get it on, let's do our thing, because hey, they're not from your culture
Mm-hmm.
or anything." And that happens so many times. But I also wanted us to look at, cultures where the woman, or most times, I'm going to say the woman because it's most times the woman, because when we were looking at statistics, we realized that it was the women that were having to deal with being tolerant of
Yeah.
this. And being in a relationship where the man is just expected to do whatever he wants to do, and the women are just supposed to sit and grin and bear it. And we have intercultural marriages that operate on this. And we have even relationships, intercultural marriages here in the States where we are, where people are just sitting down and just living. They
Allowing
don't
it.
have decisions, and just dealing with it, bearing it, because it is expected, and they're not expected to do anything about it. What's your take on that?
I think it's sad, and it should not happen. And I think that there's no excuse for it, and it should not be tolerated. I've heard one or two young ladies say, "Yeah, my husband is having an affair," and as I told him, this is what the wife said: "As long as I don't see it, just don't let me see it." In other words, don't let me see the woman in your car. Don't let me see, I don't know, what is a text message. We're talking about how it happens. Sometimes it's those conversations that you have when your spouse is not around and it's elongated, going on for an hour, over an hour, 30 minutes. If you can't have a conversation in front of your spouse with the person of opposite sex, then something is off and you're being careless. You know,
Yeah.
you have to protect that marriage unit. Women should not just say, oh, he's a man. If you decide to forgive, that's your prerogative. But for you to heal, there has to be truth and honesty on the part of the spouse that
Yeah.
cheated. You know,
Yeah.
that's the only way you can heal and get over it, right? Don't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many repercussions with infidelity, that you're dealing with. Not only are you hurting that individual, you're talking about families, you're talking about children sometimes, you're talking about, in-laws. I mean, the whole dynamics of the family just there's just this big hurting going on. And then I always look at it and I'm like, look at this day and time that we're living in, so many STDs and different things that are going on.
Yeah,
And
and
people
so
don't
you
consider
can't.
those.
What'd you say?
I said that nobody thinks of those things anymore.
They don't think about it because you see, infidelity is part of selfishness. It's like gratifying yourself and your flesh and making you feel good. You know, women also cheat. And sometimes it comes, there's something called emotional cheating. You're talking to somebody all along on the phone. Now we're in the age of social media. People can pretend to be what they want to be online. I
Yes,
can pretend to have a totally different identity and label myself as single and looking or be on a dating website. You know, if you don't respect the vows, if you don't respect what this covenant is and this relationship is, you can create anything and allow, like you said, for STDs to come in and a lot of pain and trauma, you know. But how do you get over it? How do you heal from that? How do you move forward? For me, to be honest, I think, and I have been close friends with someone that went through this. It takes a lot of honesty on the part of the person that cheated, and a lot of counseling, and a lot of discussions, and a lot more counseling, prayer, and more counseling. You
yeah.
know,
I know the counseling is awesome, and like you're saying, the honesty, but I think one of the biggest thing is just that healing, that spiritual healing.
mm-hmm.
It takes the grace of God for you to
Yes,
work through that and pull through it. I mean, it's not my place to say what happens or how you deal with it
right.
after, with the decisions that you make. I just think that, you know, for you to even be a better person and deal with that hurt, you, like Kathleen said, it just takes a whole lot of counseling, a whole lot of healing, you know, from the inside out. It's gonna be, it just takes a lot. And the pain is not gonna go away immediately.
No,
The pain is not gonna go away because you had counseling. The pain is not gonna go away because you're now putting everything on the table and you're being honest with that person, letting them know what happened up front. That pain is gonna be there. And for some people it's a lifetime. That hurt stays with them. It's just that they know how to deal with it. And for some people, the hurt goes away after a while. Everybody's different. It just depends on what was involved when all of that infidelity was going on. Kathleen?
it is right. Some, the pain. I always wonder, like, is that something that people really get over? You know, your spouse cheated and now he's out of the house or is on his phone. Are you really thinking that things are kosher?
That
Things
trust
are,
factor, that trust factor.
yeah, the trust factor, and trust is, oh my God, it's so delicate. Once it's broken, it's really hard to repair and to rebuild. And we're not saying it's not impossible because we are Christians, and one of the big fast tenets of our faith is that of forgiveness. And
Yes,
so you forgive, but the I think the offender or the person that cheated will have to really be truly repentant, because they could say I'm sorry and show that they're truly repentant, but the moment the lights are turned off, they slither back in the old ways. And what does that do? What does that do? This is a hard topic, and I know we just brushed the surface, but we shall see how things go forward from here. I don't know if there's anything else, but I'll hand it over to you, Nikki.
wow. I mean, like, even when we were doing this and decided to do it, it was just something that was very weighty on our heart, and something that, it has such an impact on one's life, not just
Yes.
the marriage. So, we prayed, and we still pray, in regards to, this area in marriages, this is what we believe in extra, intercultural marriages. We believe in intercultural marriages. We believe that marriages work. We want them to work. And
Yes.
that's our prayer that whatever you're going through, if there's anyone that's listening to us on our YouTube channel, if anyone shared this with you and you're going through this, just know that we're praying, for marriages, especially in this day and time when marriages are being attacked in every single way, on every form and on every platform. There are laws being made to make people believe that, you know what, we don't need marriages anymore, but marriages are very vital to our society, to our beings, to our families.
For
So,
spirituality,
we're
yeah.
praying, definitely praying for people who are going through this. So I'll let Ashley round up for us.
And there's in every situation there's hope. So if you are going through this, like Nikki said, I pray that you find peace and you find a way in which you can heal and come to a resolution.
Yes,
And at the end of the day, we want everyone to be happy in their homes and be trusting and have a well-adjusted
yeah.
home. With this, we have come to the end of our broadcast. Thank you once again for joining us at Marriage Culture TV. We ask that you like, share, comment, subscribe. Click the little
Give us
bell.
some thumbs up. Give us some thumbs up.
Thumbs up, please do, so that we know that you like our topic. Please comment and also hit the bell sign below so that you'll be notified when we upload another video. Until next time, bye.